A huge thanks to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Hey friends, it's Simon Hurley and welcome to another video. Today I'm so excited to jump in using my Cricut Joy Xtra and share a couple of easy DIY Valentine's Day greeting cards with all of you. First, I'll walk you through a simple card making project using the Cricut Joy Xtra mat and show you just how easy it is to make a card using that. And then we'll take a more stepped up approach and show you how to make a little bit more of an involved Valentine's Day card. Now remember, everything I use in today's video is listed and linked down below, and using those links helps support me, so I really appreciate it. And now without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so first you need to open up Cricut Design Space. I got it open here, and we're gonna look for some Valentine's Day projects. One thing I love about Design Space is they make it really easy to find projects, especially during the season that you're creating for. So like here, since it's right around Valentine's Day, they have a whole Valentine's Day tab, so you can really easily pull that up and find a bunch of different projects, whether you're creating 3D projects or more card making projects like we're doing today. So I've already gone through this and looked for a bunch of different projects, and I've bookmarked my favorites. Alright, for this project, I'm going to go in and do this Love You card that I have bookmarked. I really like this one because you can really easily make it on the Cricut card mat. So for my card making, I like to make an A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 inches by 5.5. So on here, it's an R20, so I'll select that and then press Make It. Then it'll bring open my canvas and it shows the card being ready to create it on the card mat. Alright, so when it comes to cutting down the cardstock, I'm gonna go in with a piece of my stark white cardstock. This is 8.5 by 11. I'm gonna go the long way and I'll cut it down at 5.5 inches. And this will give you 2 card bases you can use. Then I can easily go in with my scoring tool and my bone folder, and I'll score it right at 4 1/4 inches. And then I'll flip this over and we're going to fold it down and crease it in place. And this gives us the perfect folded card base that we can use with our card mat. So I'll take out the Cricut Joy Xtra card mat. We're going to remove this piece of acetate from it. And so this card mat is really easy to use. It's got this little piece of plastic that you're going to stick the back of the card base right into. And then you're going to make sure that it's up against that top edge there and that it aligns with the R20 guideline on here. So you have different guidelines for each different card size. So we want it to perfectly align with the R20. And then we'll just fold it over and press it down into that sticky mat. All right, and now it's perfectly ready to cut out using the card mat. Again, I'm gonna select the heavy cardstock option. Now it says to ensure quality and safety, you're going to move the star wheels. You wanna move them anytime you use this Cricut Joy Xtra card mat. So all we need to do is go in here and you see these little star wheels right here. All you're going to do is just move those to the right or left of your machine. So just move them right out of the way. They're simple to move. And this just makes sure they're not rolling all over your card once it's finished. You'll just line it up, let it grab. All right, then I'll click go on my project, and now it's starting to cut out our design super simply. So again, you just sit back, relax, and watch the magic. This design is super fun. It's got a bunch of little pieces that make up that gorgeous heart. So it's just going in there and cutting out all of those little intricate pieces at once. It's really cool to watch the precision. All right, so once the design's done cutting, we'll press unload. It'll unload it off of our mat. And check out that beautifully cut out design. I can't wait to take this one off the mat. So I'm gonna go in with the Cricut Joy tool set and just use this metal spatula and go in here pretty gently to remove the card off the mat without anything tearing. So just be nice and gentle and slide this underneath, and it'll sort of help loosen things up to get them off of the mat. And then once you've got a large section started, it should be pretty easy to just gently start slowly peeling the rest of it off. So then we'll take this out of that back piece. Everything is clean and out of this now, so we can set it off to the side. And then to clean off the mat for the next time I'm gonna use it, I'm just gonna go in here and really gently just scrape off all of those little pieces. You don't wanna press or scrub too hard on this, so just kind of gently use this spatula tool to move things off, and everything should come up pretty easily. Then to get this ready for storage, and the next time I'm gonna use it, I'll place back down that piece of acetate right over that sticky center, and that way no dust gets into it when we store it. So what's really awesome about these card designs with the little slits in the corner of it is you put a piece of cardstock in the back, and then it acts as a backer for the design. So you can put whatever kind of cardstock you want, whether it's colored or shiny, to add a really great effect to the card. You can totally make your own, but Cricut also has options as well of card sets and insert cards and envelopes. This set is really fun because it has different colored cardstocks for cards, And then it has all of these amazing shiny inserts with some cool texture on it that's holographic. So I'll just place this behind it and tuck it right into those corners. Super easy to do. And then you can see what that great holographic cardstock looks like behind it. I think that is such a fun effect. So I wanted to show you this because I think that's a really great option with the holographic. I love that look, but I want to go in and make my insert a little bit darker and add some color towards the Valentine's Day theme. So for this backdrop insert, I want to create kind of an ombre of color, and I want it to be nice and shiny. So for this, I'm going to go in with some of my Simon Hurley Create Lunar Paste. I'm going to use Prom Queen, Love Struck, and then a little bit of Game Over to create a really great gradient. So to create a palette of color that I can grab from, I'm just going to go in using my palette knife, and I'm just going to scrape this off onto a little plastic palette off to the side to create an easy way to access the colors. Next, I'll bring in a little bit of Love Struck. I love this kind of rich berry red color. It's just beautiful for Valentine's Day. And then last but not least, we'll use Game Over, which is this gorgeous maroon color. I love it. Then I'm gonna go in with a sponge or a domed foam blending tool like I'm doing right here. And I'm just going to easily dip into the palette of colors off to the side to apply it to our sponge. And then we'll just go back and forth swiping it onto the cardstock to create our own mirrored colored cardstock. I'll reapply, but a really little bit kind of goes a long way. You can see we've covered quite a bit of the cardstock already, so I didn't need to apply tons in order to get this beautiful result. Then we're going to take it and move into that Love Struck berry red color and just kind of transition between the colors. So since they're still wet, they're going to really easily blend together and create a gorgeous shade in between as they blend. And then we'll keep moving it down and keep spreading out our color. Now I love that we're able to create this sort of ombre of color and blend that you usually wouldn't be able to with just a store-bought piece of cardstock, but of course it takes a little bit more time. So this is like, if you've got more time to create your Valentine's Day card, this is what I love to do, but you could always use the pre-made cardstocks and stick them in there for a super quick and easy effect that's just as stunning. All right, then last but not least, we'll add a little bit of Game Over onto our sponge and fill in that last section at the bottom here with that really deep, rich red color. And then I'll just clean the rest off with a little bit of water while it's still wet. And then once you're done using the sponge, just remove this from your tool and take this under sink and wash it. And that way, once it's washed out, you can use it on another project. If you let the lunar paste dry in there, it might become a little bit crusty, so be sure to wash it out. And then once this lunar paste is dry, check out that beautiful shine. I love the ombre of color that we were able to blend together as well, and just how gorgeous that metallic shine is that you get on the surface once it's completely dry. And it only takes a matter of minutes since we applied it so thin to the surface of the cardstock, so I love that it dries really quickly too. All right, now I'm gonna go in and trim this background down. These card inserts are 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I intentionally made it a little bit bigger in case the edges weren't perfect. So now I can trim it down to my liking so that it fits in the card. All right, now I'm super excited, so I'll place this right inside here and tuck that cardstock right into the corners of our design. Super easy to do, which is what I love so much about these card designs. And check that out. I love the ombre of color that's going across the backgrounds with those pinks and reds. It's perfect for Valentine's Day, and when it catches the light too, it has such an amazing, intense shine to it. I love how simple it is, and yet the results are so stunning. I absolutely loved this hearts card, so I'm going to add that to my canvas. We'll press view. Okay, so when you open up this project in Design Space, there's a little bit of editing that we need to do to make it fit what we want to create. So this has an envelope involved as well. I don't want to do the envelope for today's card, so I'm gonna go into this envelope section, click on it, and just simply press delete on my keyboard. That will remove the envelope from the canvas. Then instead of doing this full card with the fold, I actually only want to cut the card front. So a simple way to edit an image is going into shapes. I'm gonna grab the rectangle here, and I'm just going to make this a little bit larger than my card. Then I'll drag this on over the card, and I'm gonna meet the edge up to the card exactly where I want it to cut. Then I'm gonna click on the rectangle layer, and while that's clicked, I'm gonna hold down Command on my keyboard, and then I'm also going to click on the hearts card layer. Then while both of those are clicked, I'm gonna go down to where it says Combine, I'll click that, and I'm going to click Subtract. This will cut wherever that shape was and get rid of it so that now we're just ending up cutting this card front out. So using those shapes is a pretty easy way to edit and cut out your images to make it fit your exact project you want to create. All right, so I'm going to click Make on our project. Then I'll press On Matte. Then I'll go in with my Cricut Joy Xtra Matte, peel off the plastic. Then I'll take my piece of stark white cardstock and lay it right in the corner of our grip mat and place it down. All right, then you can select your material, and I'm going to click Browse All Materials because I'm using an 110-pound cardstock, so I'll click Heavy Cardstock. You can also bookmark that if that's an option you use quite often. And for pressure, I'm also going to do more just because my cardstock is a little bit heavier than the 100-pound. So I'm going to load in the light grip mat. and you can just click go. Alright, then as easy as that, the cutting process starts, and you just get to enjoy the show as your Cricut Joy Xtra cuts everything out. This is always my favorite part. It's like super satisfying to watch everything cut out. So it'll push it out, and then it'll say complete on your screen, so you can press unload, and then you can unload your mat super easily. All right, and then I like to go in with these little Cricut Joy Xtra tools, and I'm using this little metal spatula tool, and that's just a super easy way to gently sort of release these hearts off of the surface of your cutting mat. And another easy way to help get them off the mat too is just by gently bending the mat backwards like this, which allows the cardstock to sort of gently peel up without a lot of force. So this is another way that I like to do it, just to make sure that nothing rips off the surface. And it cut through just beautifully with all of these hearts. And then I'll just go in with my spatula tool and gently remove these off of that Cricut mat. So once I'm done working with my Cricut Joy Xtra mat, I'm just going to take that piece of acetate and place it right back over top. That way no dust gets onto it and it stays nice and sticky for the next project we want to use it for. And check out just how cool this design is. So I love these really playful looking hearts and how they're kind of scattered across that background. It is such a great design for Valentine's or any sort of love themed cards. And then what I love about it even more too, is you get all of these different size heart looking confetti kind of pieces. So whether you use it as a little confetti in like a shaker card or you scatter this around a card design, it is so fun and adorable that you get both the positive and the negative from the cutouts. All right, now for this, I want to use these hearts as sort of a stencil. So I've got my card base taped down onto my surface, and I'm just going to lay this right over the top of it. Then I'll take a little bit of tape and just tape right around the edges to hold this down and mask everything off. All right, then through this heart design, we're going to do some ink blending. So I'm just going to go in using some Simon Hurley Create inks. I'm starting off with some Shooting Star and a blending brush, and I'm just going to lightly blend this right through our cutout onto the surface of our card. You could keep it super traditional and just stick to like pinks and reds, but I'm going to opt for including a couple other colors in the palette as well for this one. If you add more pressure, you'll get more intense color in that area, and then you can sort of blend it out and soften it as you go throughout. Then I'm going to move into this color called Prom Queen, which is a really nice bright pink color. I'm going to ink this up and start blending it from the opposite direction on this cutout. And what's really cool about these is they're translucent dye-based inks. So whenever they layer over top of each other, you're gonna create a new color. So in between this pink and yellow, we're gonna create this like orange color, which is just stunning. I absolutely love it. Then I'm gonna go into some Bee Sting, which is this bright red color. And I'll blend this in from the bottom, moving up into that yellow. And that'll blend together really nicely to create another color in between. And then lastly, we'll go in with Triple Berry, which is this nice warm purple color, and we'll bring it in from the corner here. Now, if you like this smooth blend just as it is, you can totally leave it. But my Simon Hurley inks are reactive with water as well, so I'll go in with a little spray bottle and I'm just going to gently mist over the top of the surface, just really lightly spraying over top, and it'll give me kind of these water droplets if you only pull the spray bottle a little bit. So you get lots of texture across that ink surface there. So I'll just let the water sit on the surface for a little bit and react, and then once we're ready to, we can kind of lift it off with a paper towel. And check out how cool that is. It makes little water splotches here and there, and it makes it kind of look more like watercolor, which is really fun. All right, and then when I lift this off the surface, check that out. And what's so cool about this is you get this really beautiful background full of hearts that you blended that are nice and solid. And then you also have this panel, which can then be put on another card base, and you have another card. But I really fell in love with how this one turned out. So this is what we're gonna use today. So I'll use a little bit of liquid glue on the back so we can add this onto a card base. And you just wanna add a little bit of liquid glue all around each one of those hearts so that everything sticks in place. And then I'll adhere this right down onto the card base. And then to finish this card off perfectly, I'm going to use the new Big Hug stamp set from my Simon Hurley Create collection. I love this one for Valentine's Day. It's so fun and playful with their arms out, and it's got a bunch of great sentiments that work all year round as well. But this panda is going to be adorable for a love-themed card. So I'll just pull out the image I want to use. Then I'll ink it up using a little bit of VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink to get a nice, crisp, and jet black image. And I'll stamp it right down onto my cardstock. Perfect. Now this ink takes a little bit longer to dry, so to set it in place, I'm going to throw over a layer of clear heat embossing powder, tap off any of the excess, and then we'll heat set this until it's clear and shiny. And that makes it nice and shiny, and I love this panda image because we don't have to do a lot of coloring, but there's also little hearts inside of this stamp set. So what I like to do is take a little bit of red Love Struck ink up one of those hearts, and I'll stamp it right down onto the little panda bear. How cute is that? Now, of course, you can look inside of your stamp set and find an amazing stamp sentiment, but I wanted to do something a little bit more custom that the stamp set didn't have inside of it. All right, and I want my sentiment to say, I love you this much, because I think that's perfect with the little animals having their hands out like that. What I love about this too is you can even add someone's name after it for the recipient you're giving it to make it even that much more custom. Now, I'm just using the Cricut Sans font, but there's lots of different fonts you could choose from, which is really awesome that they have all those different options as well. And when it comes to this, I'm going to select it, and instead of the operation being a basic cut, I'm gonna go in and select Draw and then the pen tool. That way my Cricut can write this out using the pen that we're going to insert instead of cutting it out. And then we'll just size this down so that it's going to fit perfectly on our card making project. All right, once we're ready, we're going to press Make, and then we'll press On Matte and confirm. Then again, we're getting out our light grip Cricut Joy Xtra mat, and I'll just use a scrap piece of my stark white cardstock that's big enough and place it in the top left. All right, then it says to load the tools and materials, and since we're doing writing, we're going to use one of the Cricut Joy fine point pens. This is the 0.4, so all you need to do is go in and unclamp your blade down. You can pull the blade out, then I'll uncap my marker. I'm just gonna place the cap right on top, and we can drop our pen right into that same blade slot right there. Then you'll just clamp it down and it's ready to go. Then we can go right in and load up our mat. And once the mat is in and aligned, we can press go and it'll start writing for our project. And I love how perfectly this pen writes out the sentiments. You have so many different options then when it comes to creating your own custom sentiments for your card making projects and making them really tailored to whoever you're sending them to, which can be especially helpful when you're making a Valentine's Day card like today. And just like that, it's finished writing, so I'm gonna press unload, and it'll unload it out of our machine, and we have the perfectly written out sentiment. And then to get it ready for next time, we'll just unclamp this again, take our pen out and cap it up. You don't want that to dry out, so make sure it's nice and capped off. And then go back in, drop your blade right in, and clamp it into place, and you're ready for the next time you're ready to cut. All right, and then again, an easy way to remove this from your mat is just bending the mat back gently, and that will remove your cardstock nice and easily without anything ripping. All right, then I'll just go in and trim down the sentiment. All right, then let's put everything together. I'm gonna add a little bit of glue below this panda, and then we're able to just tuck him right behind the sentiment, and that acts as a great grounding place for him to be popping out of. Then I'll use a little bit of foam tape on the back to pop it up, and then adhere it front and center onto my card. This card is so much fun with that brightly colored background that we did by cutting out those hearts and stenciling through them. And I love that that gives us the option to create with another easy card background too. And then finishing it off with the adorable panda and the sentiment that we wrote ourselves is awesome. All right, well, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and seeing a couple of easy Valentine's Day card making projects you can create using your Cricut Joy Xtra. Leave me a comment down below letting me know which project was your favorite, and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And remember, everything I used in today's video is listed and linked down below, and using those links helps support me, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you soon for another card making and crafting video.